Welcome to the disclosure portal training in BOLT, which is the Mount West Financial link to between our partners and our software to help with disclosures and managing your pipeline. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go over the process of ordering disclosures using the pipeline management through BOLT, and we know that you've already learned how to upload files and how to run through our pricing engine and registering a file. We're going to just kind of touch base on the previous part of that and then go into ordering the disclosures themselves. John, why don't you take us through that?
So we'll go ahead and take you through ordering the disclosures. Again, the assumption at this point is you've already uploaded your 3.2. The system automatically takes you into Price My Loan to register the product. Again, one of the big things we always want to bring up is registering in LendingQB is just picking the loan program and the interest rate. It's not like it was in DataTrack in our old system. So again, at this point, the file's been uploaded. It's already been registered, which means the program's already been picked. So at this point, the first thing you should be doing is, again, the running the pricing has already happened, is viewing your 1003. We'll go ahead and click on that. Okay, so this is, again, just your standard 4-page 1003. You've seen it a million times, but again, it's always a good idea to go back through it and make sure that everything that is on your 3.2 has been transmitted over correctly. So again, go through pages 1 through 4, and again, you can tell this is just a sample file. That's why there's almost nothing filled out in it. We won't take you through all that, but 1, 2, and 3. Not too worried about 4. From this, assuming that everything looks good in your 1003, you can actually go into your edit closing costs directly from here. Or, for example, let's say you registered it with the wrong pricing, you can go back to running pricing. We're going to go back to pipeline for right now. Go back right here. And then the next step will be to edit your closing costs to make sure everything's correct.
So I'm going to kind of take you through the edit closing costs piece of it. One of the things to remember is Mount West Financial, once you've registered the loan, it's chosen a loan program, and it will auto-populate the credit or charge for the interest rate on that. It will also takes into consideration the income for the broker. So your LO comp is taken in consideration, as well as anything affiliated with that program. Meaning if it's an FHA loan, it'll have mortgage insurance premium. If it's a VA loan, it'll have VA funding fee. If it's over 80% on a conventional. So it calculates all that when you register the loan. So your LO comp is, as long as it's lender paid, is in there, and the fees that are affiliated with a specific loan program. If you're doing borrower paid compensation, you want to make sure that that's put in here, and you'd put that in under loan origination fee for paid to broker if it's a borrower paid transaction. The rest of the stuff, we use a service fee provider list, and the name of the company is First American that we use. You want to make sure that you use that.
We're starting over. Yeah, we're starting over. Okay, couple things. They would not put their borrower paid transactions through the closing costs. They do that through Price My Loan. Now they can override it here, but we're going to lock that out. We don't want them to be able to do it because it doesn't take into account all the testing goes out the window at the pricing.
Hello, everyone. This is Gary Martell, and I'm joined by John Cady today. We're going to take you through how to order disclosures with the Mountain West Financial Pipeline Management System, BOLT. It's a pretty easy process. We're going to go through the couple steps that it takes. We'll take in consideration that you've already learned how to upload a file to us. You've already learned the process how to price a loan with us, which is also registering a file and uploading the 3.2. We'll kind of have that discussion as we go along, but our focus today is strictly based off of how to use the portal that we've devised for you to order your disclosures and make it a clean, efficient, and quick process. John?
So we'll go ahead and start. Now this is your standard pipeline that you're going to go into every day. These files have all been uploaded. The 3.2 has been uploaded, and the bulk of them have been registered. Now, the ones we're going to use for testing today have been registered. Again, as Gary said, registering is just picking a loan program and an interest rate. It's not the same as it used to be in our old system. So again, when you upload your 3.2, the first thing it does is throw you into pricing so you can pick a program and a interest rate. So with this file, it's already been done. The next thing we're going to do is review the 1003. Again, we just want to go through, it's your standard 4-page 1003. We want to make sure that everything is done correctly, that what was on your 3.2 has transmitted correctly over. Now, this is a test file, so again, there's not a lot of information here. But again, the file you upload will have that information. So you should be going through first, second, and third page. And then once that's done and completed and you've made sure everything is correct, you can actually go and edit your closing costs directly from here, so you don't actually have to go back to the pipeline. Or you can run pricing. Let's say you've decided to change the interest rate or the interest rate you put in was incorrect. For this demo, we're just going to go back to pipeline, because again, I want to keep you there. The next part would be edit your closing costs.
So to edit the closing costs, we've streamlined this process, so we're letting the technology and automation do most of the thinking for us. When you register the program and or locked the loan, it has already calculated your compensation. LO compensation, if it's lender paid, is already baked into the pricing. If it's borrower paid, you would have chosen that option when you were in Price My Loan, and you would have put in how much your compensation is. This would be a place where you could look at just to check to make sure that it's the amount that you put in there. Also, when you register a loan, it's going to fire off fees and costs associated with that loan program and that loan type. So just like it included in pricing additional loan level price adjustments, it also gives you the option if you're going to include underwriting in your pricing or you're going to have underwriting separated out of there. The other part that it does is it automatically put in the cost of appraisals for your area as well as the cost of the appraisal management system. As you can see, those are in there, and if you have a reinspection, it will always put an additional reinspection in there, and then you can come back if you choose to do so and add additional ones if you know there's something else going. But again, in most cases, you're just going to want to let the technology and information in there stay the same. The other part is we use a national fee providers for several of our fees. And the way that this works, we default to First American as our service provider for title and closing fees. They also populate recording fees and document rate transfer tax. So those fees will get automatically populated into your loan based off of the loan amount, the sales price, and the geographic location. Because of that, and because we put them on our service provider list, if you leave those fees alone, first of all, if for some reason First American was chosen, then they're going to honor those fees. If you choose any other company, it shows as a fee that the borrower could shop for, did shop for, and because of that, any other company that is chosen at closing becomes a no tolerance test. Instead of the 0 or instead of 10%, it falls into the no tolerance bucket. Now, how this works is if we put First American out, we put those fees, and then when we roll out the closing disclosure, the CD later on, and we switch over to whoever the closing company is, it automatically drops into the 0 or no tolerance bucket. And that gives you the flexibility of not having to run down and find the different fees up front right now, because again, most of them are, vary within just a small amount. So by taking the time to do it this way, it will save you a tremendous amount of time up front. You can get your disclosures out. So besides that, if you have any other fees for inspections, we'll say like a well or septic or roof inspection, those are here, and we've defaulted them to $500 per inspection. If they're not a fee that's going to be there, then you would want to take those out. Let's see if I can get that to happen. You'd want to be able to take those out, and let's get over to the left-hand side. You see there's these little minus signs right there. So by subtracting that out, what it does is will allow you to drop one off that you know that's not going to be there. So if that's the case, that will be gone and it won't show up. We've defaulted those 3 fees because those inspections, those certifications are usually the 3 main ones that we see out there more times than not. But again, if they don't apply to your transaction, go ahead and take them out. If they do apply, then if you leave the $500 in there, you're pretty much assured that what we've looked at is the certifications that are typically out there are that or less on every transaction. It's better to slightly over-disclose, especially up front, than under-disclose and later on either be subject to a cure or have to redisclose to show a higher amount. Remember, as you go along here, the objective of the LE is to give the borrower a loan estimate at the beginning of the transaction, which will show the majority of their cost to complete in a transaction. Okay, so let's go back here. So the other part is to get up to non-P&I payments. So this is going to be your impounds. It takes care of your prepaids for taxes, insurance. And so what I'll do is I'll look at one of them. We'll just say hazard insurance. Typically on a purchase, what we're going to do is we're going to default to 12 months prepaids for insurance and then 2 months that'll get put into an impound account. So on a purchase, you're going to default to 14 months insurance, 6 months of taxes, and we default to 15 days of prepaid interest. If it's got mortgage insurance, it defaults to that amount as well. The important part of this is that we want to make sure that, again, our objective is to give somebody an estimate up front, and then as we're going through the transaction, because taxes, insurance, and impounds, aggregate adjustments, all that will show up on the CD. But a lot of times you don't need to change the amounts on the LE. If you're doing a refinance, you're more than welcome to go in and change the amount so that you can put in the actual amount as opposed to the 0.35 that we show for insurance. If you know it's going to be X amount of dollars, you can empty this out here and actually put in an amount, and it would show what the amount is per month. And if, again, on a refinance, if you know what the insurance policy is or you know the tax rate, you should probably go in and make those changes to both of those. And just like we did here, if you go down to property taxes, you could open that up, and the same thing applies. Typically, we're going to show how many months reserved. We're going to start off at 1 1/4, which is a good estimate unless you know what that tax rate is going into them up front. So otherwise, if they're refinancing and you know on the prelim that it shows a different amount, feel free to X-nay this amount here and add in a dollar amount, which is dividing your annual or semi-annual tax bill by 12. So once you've completed those and looked them over, so the only things that you're going to have to go in and change, typically when you're looking at these, is you're going to have to go in and change, back to your closing costs. You're going to have to go in and change, you're going to, just like John had mentioned on 1003, you're going to go and look at all your fees just to make sure it looks appropriate. You don't need to change the closing company, the title company. Again, we've defaulted to First American. If you choose any other company, or not you or the borrower chooses any other company, it falls into a no tolerance bucket. So as long as you're okay with the costs that are on there, even if they're off slightly, you still will tighten up and we'll put the actual amount when we change over to the CD. For again, you should be looking at the LO comp. If you're doing lender paid, it's not going to show here because it doesn't show on the loan estimate. If you're doing borrower paid, it should show up here and it should be what you did. If it's not accurate, you would go back to the pricing engine and that's where you'd make those changes. If you're looking for the rest of the fees, again, you just want to make sure as you're doing this that you've gone through and you're okay with the fees here. Once you've done that, then we're going to upload it and send it to the portal. Sean, why don't you take us through that?
Okay. So at this point, you've gone through your 1003, you've gone through your closing costs, everything looks the way it's supposed to. Now, the only other thing we're asking you to do is upload your signed 1003. If it's face-to-face, we'd like one that's signed by the borrower and the loan officer. If it's through the phone or internet, then it would be just a loan officer signed. Now, I'm going to skip a section. If you go to the disclosure portal, it would actually tell you that you're missing the 1003. Actually, I already uploaded on this one. Oops, sorry about that. Let's go ahead and do this. Back up. Okay, so the way you would upload your signed 1003, there's actually two ways you would do that. One is our standard upload, document upload. This is similar to what was used in DataTrack. The company's used it for years. Again, you're going to just upload your signed 1003. You can either drag it off your screen. Now, again, we have our screen full. Or you can just add files, go into your desktop, and find the 1003 you're actually using. Mine's right there. And as soon as you've done that, you can start upload, and it's done. It's instant. Now, the nice thing is, we'll go into eDocs. This is the other way I'm going to show you to do it. But from the document list, it's already there. It's been uploaded. It's there as soon as you do it. It doesn't go through anything. The other way you can do it is if you've used the system before, you can actually select the document, application, sign 1003, and do the exact same thing you just did. So some people like to go one way, some like the other. Figured we'd show you both.
And I think it is important to note the only document that we require from you in order to order disclosures is the 1003. We've had people say, well, can we upload other things? And you can, but the only document we require, we do ask that you've looked at your purchase contract and those other things, and that's where you would take if there's certifications or those other things, but the only document is the 1003.
Okay. So at this point, we have, and I'm going to go jump to this one really quick. So at this point, the 1003, and again, we're jumping around a little bit because we're trying to show you different errors that could happen. Once you order your, now this one is the one that would not have a 1003. So let's fix this really quick. We'll use this way, which is the document upload on this one. Just want to show you some of the errors, some of the things that come up to let you know you need to make a correction. Okay, that one's done. Now at this point, this one also has a QM test. So once you open our disclosure portal, it's going to do a couple of things. One, it's going to check to make sure your interview date's in. It's going to make sure the 1003 is in. It's going to make sure that the loan's registered. It's also going to run it through QM testing, QM points and fees test, and compliance testing. It's going to check licensing. It's going to check everything. Because, again, we want to make sure those mistakes are completed and fixed before it gets in with us. And I know you've all worked with lenders where you have to go back and forth. We've made this as automated and as easy as humanly possible. So this one's telling me I'm $8,000 over. I have a really good idea what that is. So, again, here are your closing costs. I'm going to bet it's this $10,000 escrow fee because it's the one I always use. So let's fix this. And it's not an affiliate. Okay, so once you've made that correction, you hit save and continue. It's actually going to rerun all the testing. Okay, it came back. It's fine. Now, we're going to, most of this information, by the way, is going to fill in automatically. Now, again, this is a test file, so it's not a fully complete file. So I'm going to just put in my information. As you can tell, I do this a lot. Mine's automatic. And we'll use corporate address. Okay. Now, the loan officer and the broker will automatically be hard-coded in. There's no reason. You guys already have that information in the system. You'll have two options. You can email it directly to the borrower for e-signature, or you can mail to the borrower if you know they don't have email. Now, again, we're strongly recommending you use the e-signature, but again, you do have both options. And then here are some new fields that we've added. The estimated closing date, again, with how TRID has changed things, the estimated closing date in our system is now the date that you plan on the borrower signing the loan documents, not the day you plan on it funding. So we'd like that date. So for this one, we're going to put 11/15. The other date, now again, let's back up. This date's automatically firing out of the system. In the closing cost that Gary showed you, it had the estimated closing date. So you can change it in the system also, but it feeds directly out. The next one will be the estimated funding date. Well, I want them to sign on the 11th, and I want them to fund on the 13th. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed that. I want them to fund on the 17th. 11/15, by the way, is a Sunday, so we'll change it. So now we know that you want your docs out, you want your docs ready to sign on the 16th, and you want to fund on the 18th. The reason these dates are so important is because how the CD goes out is going to match these dates. We have so many days ahead of it. We want to make sure that you are prepared to fund the day that you put on there. The other thing we've added is your earnest money deposit. If it was on your 3.2, it's automatically going to be here. But let's say, for example, you forgot. The 1003 you put in was not fully complete. You can actually make that correction directly from here.
And this feeds back into the loan file itself.
Yes. Okay. Now, assuming everything's correct, once you hit request disclosures, it's going to fire all the testing one more time. It wants to make sure that licensing, QM testing, everything is correct. And then once that's done, I'm going to run everything. And if everything works right, we should get a confirmation that it was sent off to us, which we did. So you'll also get a notification that we've received it. It's really that simple.
So from here, what happens is the e-delivery is pushed out to your borrowers, and a copy of 1003 is e-delivered to the loan officer on the transaction as well. We want them both e-signed and back into the file. And the main reason for the e-delivery is so that you can speed up the process, and you then have a set of signed disclosures back here at the lender, and you always have access. In your e-docs, you could go back and see the unsigned copy, and once a signed copy there, you'll be able to see that within Bolt as well. So that's as easy as the process is. Let the technology do the work. Let the loan estimate go out to the borrower with the right amount of estimates on there. And again, we will tighten down the exact fees and costs for the other services and whatnot as we get closer to the end of the transaction. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to John or myself. Also, your production coordinator and your business development manager, they're all there to assist you. We really appreciate you guys being a partner of Mountain West, and we wish you great success.
Thank you for your business.